Tonight, Friday Night SmackDown once again emanates from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, inside the WWE Thunderdome for another edition of the Blue Brand on Fox. So what we're going to be previewing in this video is we're going to be releasing a couple of previews, specific matches and segments ahead of tonight's show. But what we're going to be previewing in this video is the KO show on Friday Night SmackDown. Yes, you did not mishear me there, because it's been announced that tonight on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, Monday Night Raw's Kevin Owens will be presenting an edition of the KO show with special guest Alexa Bliss. Now, why Raw's Kevin Owens is on Friday Night SmackDown, they do have a reason for. I will give WWE credit, they do have a reason for, but this whole segment is about Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, right? In recent weeks, we've seen Alexa Bliss sort of slowly transforming into, I don't want to say a female equivalent of The Fiend, but The Fiend certainly has a hold over her, or something over her. So Kevin Owens, by all accounts, is coming to SmackDown to try and figure out why Alexa Bliss has been showing strange behaviour, shall we say, in recent weeks when it comes to The Fiend, and ever since their initial interaction all those weeks ago on Friday Night SmackDown back in the WWE Performance Center. Now, in recent weeks, Alexa Bliss, she snapped into Sister Abigail attacks, they're calling them, on Nikki Cross and Lacey Evans, after when people have just mentioned the name of The Fiend, or in some cases the red light of doom associated with The Fiend has come on and Alexa Bliss is transformed. Last week, you had the emergence of The Fiend's image appeared on the Titantron, which caused Alexa Bliss to maniacally attack Lacey Evans. And then once she did sort of transform into this different version of Alexa Bliss, her hair was wild. She showed like her eyes widened, and you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. I don't know if it was just the look of Alexa Bliss and just the crazy hair and a sort of maniacal look on her face. It really reminded me of Michelle Pfeiffer playing Selena Kyle in Batman Forever. That's a bit of a tangent there, but that is what certainly reminded me of last week, that sort of look and that image. So this week, to try and get to the crux of why she's acting like this, what's going on between Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, we have Kevin Owens from Monday Night Raw presenting an edition of the Kevin Owens Show. Now, why is Kevin Owens on SmackDown? Well, according to WWE.com, according to their preview, Kevin Owens is on SmackDown as part of, that's right, the Brand to Brand Invitational. What is the Brand to Brand Invitational? No one knows at this point. I'll tell you exactly what it is. We know the WWE draft is in 2 weeks, something like that. Is it next week? It might even be next week on SmackDown. And basically, this brand-to-brand invitational, what it is now, what it means is we don't care about the brand split at the moment. We'll figure it out in a couple of weeks. That's essentially what the brand-to-brand invitational has been for the last couple of months. I sound like a broken record because I've said this a million times, but the brand split, I'm a big fan of the brand split, and I want the brand split to work. I've always wanted the brand split to work. I grew up on the brand split. I grew up when they first drafted the rosters in 2002, when you had Raw and SmackDown, back when Vince McMahon was in charge of SmackDown and Ric Flair was in charge of Raw. I enjoyed it, and I think the brand split can work. But in recent years, ever since they've tried it again in 2016, the best they can go without mixing the rosters, conservative, is about a year at best. Then people start popping up across both shows. Then you have these weird things come up, the wild card rule, which basically means we got the draft wrong, we don't know what we're doing, the wild card rule. Then you get the draft last year and go, well, because SmackDown's on Fox and USA Network still has Raw, we're going to keep them separate this time. We promise we will definitely keep them separate. They did a draft where they drafted people to shows they were already on. It was very confusing last year. And then wouldn't you know it, about 6 months in, if that, you get the Brand to Brand Invitational, which at first was just to get Charlotte Flair on SmackDown in addition to Raw and NXT. And the Brand to Brand Invitational, remember when it first came out, it was a quarterly thing. It was once a quarter, And I think maybe like 2 people could do it, or 3 people could do it, something like that. It wasn't as prevalent as we've seen in recent weeks. In recent weeks, you've seen the tag champions go across. Now you've got Kevin Owens going across. It's just chaos. You've got Braun Strowman on Monday Night Raw and Raw Underground. You've got Drew Gulak on Monday Night Raw going after the 24/7 championship. Now you've got Kevin Owens on SmackDown. It's the Wild West. It's the Wild West. And look, I don't have a problem with it if you say that you're not doing a brand split. But every week you see, this brand split. The brand split is here to stay. We're keen on the brand split. Well, you're not. Because it feels like every time you do it, the best it lasts is a year. Maybe less than that, 6 months. Then it's, they can appear. There's this rule. Oh, you never knew about this rule? I'm implementing the wildcard rule. I'm implementing the brand-to-brand invitational. I can appear on both brands. It's just ridiculousness. That's what it is. It's just ridiculousness. And the problem is with it always makes you, as a fan, when you're watching it and you hear there's a brand-to-brand invitational, there's a wildcard rule, you feel stupid as a fan because you sit there and you watch it and you think to yourself, do you think I'm this stupid? Do you really think I'm this stupid that you can just make rules up as you go along? You've told me to invest in 2 separate rosters. You've told me to invest in a program, whether it is Raw, whether it is SmackDown, and you're saying that Raw is going to be completely different to SmackDown. And they're not, but you're telling me they're going to have different looks, different feels, and you can pick a team almost. They tell you to do that at Survivor Series. You can pick either Raw, you can pick either SmackDown. That can be your show. That's the one you can truly get behind. And then they go, but you can appear on both shows. They just rewrite the rules. And the crazy thing is, when they rewrite these rules, is that they made the rules themselves in the first place. It's the bizarre world of WWE when it comes to this brand split. And as a fan, it's so frustrating because in any form of life, it's always frustrating to see someone go back on their word. And that's what it feels like when it comes to these brand splits. It's like taking someone back if they've cheated on you. No, we promise we'll do it properly this time. We really do. And you go, okay, this time, but one more time, if you don't do this brand split properly, I'll throw you to the curb. I'll stop watching. And you won't. Of course, none of us will. We're wrestling fans. Support for WrestleNews 365 is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Now, Manscaped, for all of my UK fans out there, Manscaped just launched in the UK. Over here in the United Kingdom, we have gone for years and years and years without using the right tools for the job. But now you can be one of the first men in England to experience their life-changing product. But it's not just limited to all of the great fans over here in the UK. This offer goes worldwide, so all of my friends over in America and around the world that are listening to this offer still does apply for you. You can still use our code. But I've got to tell you a quick story first. Now, there have been so many times, right? I'm a guy. You gotta groom down there, fellas, right? That's the most important thing. You gotta keep yourself trimmed. You gotta keep yourself proper. And a lot of the time, I've been guilty of this, of using the wrong tools for the job. I've had incidences, I'm not afraid to say it, where things have been nicked, snagged, or in fact cut down there because I wasn't being careful enough and using the right equipment. Now that just shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. You don't want to be worrying about cutting yourself down there. Do you know how painful that is? I can tell you, it hurts quite a lot. And I wish and hope to God it never happens to me again, and it won't happen to me ever again because I'm using Manscaped products. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. Big statement, but it's absolutely true. They have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. It's also available around the world as well. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. So those cuts and snags that I was telling you about before are a thing of the past. And let me tell you, when I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes so you can get a longer, perfect shave. And not only that, you don't want to be cutting yourself and trimming yourself all over the bathroom, getting hair all over the place. That's just disgusting. The lawnmower has a waterproof technology that allows you to groom in the shower, so no more mess. And one of the coolest features, one of my favorite features about the lawnmower is the LED light which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming experience. So you can shave longer, you can shave more precisely, and you can shave in the shower. What more do I need to tell you? They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology, and let's not forget about the charging stand. You can show off your mower loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. So, if you are listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Let's get that bush to tush clean, and you can get 20% off and free shipping. Yeah, you heard me right there. 20% off and free shipping. All you have to do is use the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. Make your testes their besties. That's 20% off and free shipping. Not only are you getting 20% off, you're getting free shipping as well with the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code 365wrestle. Your balls will thank you. It's that's just the case. That's what it is when it comes to the brand split and it comes to WWE. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And I'm sure that when we have the draft, is it starting next week and you got it on Friday and you've got it on Monday, I'm sure the rosters will remain separate, probably until about WrestleMania, and then we'll start having some people go across again. You've had, was it Mandy Rose made her debut on Raw this past week with Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke got traded to Raw 10 days out from a draft. Where is that? Where is the sense in that? There is none. There is none. Why? Because the brand split doesn't matter. It's a concept that doesn't exist anymore. That's exactly what it is. It just doesn't exist. So it's very frustrating. Very frustrating. But hopefully we will get a bit further with that when we have the draft in a couple of weeks' time. But I won't complain for this entirety of this video, I promise. Not like WWE promises about the brand split. I really mean it. So, Alexa Bliss and The Fiend. Now, to end this video on a positive note, I must say, Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, it's one of the best storylines going on SmackDown and in WWE, to be honest, because the best storylines are on SmackDown right now. But the Alexa Bliss and The Fiend story is brilliant, and it has been told over a really long period of time now, because you go back to their initial interaction, which was back in the Performance Center. It was during the Braun Strowman The Fiend feud, and The Fiend locked in the mandible claw on Alexa Bliss, and that was to get to Braun Strowman. But once again, it follows the trend of everyone that The Fiend touches changes, right? Whether it was Finn Balor, whether it was Seth Rollins, whether it was Braun Strowman, whether it was Alexa Bliss, whether it was John Cena because he disappeared. He changes everyone, and he has changed Alexa Bliss, but something's been left there, and The Fiend kind of has this influence over her right now. She is slowly transforming into The Fiend, and I think what's really interesting about Alexa Bliss in this Fiend storyline is she's almost a proxy for The Fiend right now. The Fiend lost the Universal Championship at Payback to Roman Reigns in that match against Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in the Triple Threat match. And we haven't seen The Fiend since. We've only seen his presence, or felt his presence rather, whether it is by the laugh, by the picture of him on the Titantron, or the creepy light and all of that sort of stuff. We've seen Bray Wyatt. We've seen Bray Wyatt on the Firefly Funhouse. We've seen the Wobbly Walrus thing for 1 week. I don't know if that's still a thing. We've seen that, but we haven't seen The Fiend. And this is a really interesting way of keeping The Fiend's presence on the show without showing him at all. Because he shouldn't be on every show. He should be kept special. And this is a really interesting way of having The Fiend keep his presence on the show. And as I mentioned, Alexa Bliss is a proxy for The Fiend right now. You saw last week, she attacked Lacey Evans, and she sort of transformed into, I don't want to say she's Sister Abigail, because I think that whole thing has been played out to death. I think she's just a version of The Fiend. I think she's a proxy to The Fiend. In the same way that if you're a Stranger Things fan, you'll understand this reference. So when you've got I can't always call it the Mind Flayer in the Upside Down, the Ultimate Dimension, that monster can actually have people as a proxy on the other side, in the actual real dimension. And I think it's almost the same thing here. Alexa Bliss is under the control of The Fiend, and it's kind of a Stranger Things scenario. You saw last week she was shooting absolute daggers at Roman Reigns when he came out. Why? Because at that point, Alexa Bliss wasn't Alexa Bliss anymore. She was The Fiend. She transformed into the Fiend, or a version of The Fiend. She's just a proxy for him. And I think that's a really interesting story to dive into there. I think that's really, really interesting. I like the idea of these storylines. They're not easy for me to say, not gender specific. And I think it's fascinating. Alexa Bliss as well. I mentioned about like the Michelle Pfeiffer reference earlier on in Batman Forever, or for Batman Returns, not Batman Forever. I must say, What a terrible film to mix up with. But yeah, I mentioned her look to looked a lot of Michelle Pfeiffer earlier. Her acting, I must say, in this storyline so far, especially last week, was brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. And there's always discussion about who's going to be the next WWE superstar that transitions across into Hollywood. There was rumors about Charlotte Flair having her own sitcom, and you always see WWE superstars appearing in this film and appearing in that film. But the question is, who's going to be the next Rock? Who's going to be the next Batista, and really transition into Hollywood and TV and film? And the way that Alexa Bliss has performed over the last couple of weeks in terms of her acting, in terms of her facial reactions, and in terms of her look, obviously, you'd struggle to say anyone else than Alexa Bliss. I think she is perfectly suited to the big screen, the silver screen, or television, or anything like that. Because if you were a casting agent and you'd seen her performance on SmackDown in recent weeks, in terms of, not forget about the ring, but you've seen her performance in terms of pure story and acting and completely immersing oneself into a character, you would look at Alexa Bliss and just go, wow, she's been absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So I'm fascinated by this storyline. It's one of the most compelling storylines on WWE TV right now. Probably the Roman Reigns Jey Uso one just nicks it, but no one really knows where this one's going. I mean, we could see Alexa Bliss and The Fiend. Are they going to form a relationship? Like I said, is The Fiend just got a hold over her? Is this a complete change for Alexa Bliss? I don't think many people can predict the outcome here. And sometimes that's worrying with WWE, because if you can't predict the outcome, then nor has WWE. They can't predict it either. But I don't think that's the case here. I do think we're going to see something really interesting and really exciting with this feud. As I mentioned throughout the majority of this video, not massive on the whole Kevin Owens coming to SmackDown deal. Obviously, Kevin Owens being in any segment on WWE TV is a plus for me, because he's just brilliant, and he's very good in this role as a host of a talk show segment. I still think he's being criminally misused. Look at his feud with Aleister Black on Raw. It just isn't doing anything for me, which is a shame considering how great both guys are. They had a great match on Monday, but they just feel like they've both been lost in the shuffle completely there. But Kevin Owens in any segment on WWE TV is great. I just don't like the rules of the brand-to-brand invitational, or the lack of desire to make the brand split work. But all the pieces are in place here for a fantastic segment. So I am looking forward to the segment of Kevin Owens and Alexa Bliss, and who knows, we'll find out possibly more about Alexa Bliss's relationship with The Fiend. But what are your thoughts about tonight's edition of the KO show on Friday Night SmackDown with Alexa Bliss? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys on this channel. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button as well. Really just help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to WrestleNews 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.